Wanted to make a video today talking about something that was shared last week by Silidar. This is something that is primarily going to impact players either in the United States or who frequently travel to the United States for Grand Archive tournaments. And it's a bit of a bummer. So Silidar shared on October 10th that the China tariffs might cancel or delay Grand Archive merch coming to the USA. This is something that I suppose we should have seen coming. It certainly makes sense with the high percentage being placed on China when it comes to tariffs, and I fully understand why a company like Weebs of the Shore would be unable to pay those high tariffs to get in this type of merch. So when we're talking about merch here, we're not meaning the cards themselves. The booster boxes, the cards, all of that is handled through Taiwan, so they aren't going to be affected by these tariffs. When we're talking about merch here, these are things like what is provided to players at Ascents. These are things like deck boxes. These are things like shirts, figurines. These are all those little things that we love to pick up at Ascents. What this is also going to impact is going to, I assume, going to be not only Ascents, but things for regionals as well. I think we all really love things like the counter set that we received for the Distorted Reflections regionals. They're beautiful. I'm a huge fan. I think this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen a company do for a trading card game. This is also going to be things like the 4-pocket binders as well that they've done in the past, and likely any other great ideas they had for the future. And it's incredibly frustrating to see this. This is a company here that does a tremendous job about coming up with great ideas, things that maybe their players don't even realize that they want, and just saying, you know what, I think they'll like it. We're players, we play card games, we have a sense as to what people will appreciate. Let's just go with it. And these are the types of motions that you wouldn't see from a larger company that makes card games. They're just not going to be able to take these risks. They're not going to be able to advocate for these types of products to be made. Listen, did it make sense probably for them to do a Sylvie figurine at the Las Vegas World's Ascent? Probably not. That was probably a bit of a gamble, and who knows? I imagine maybe the effort and the amount of time that went into even getting these produced, and perhaps even the cost and what they got back as far as selling them may not have even really been worth it. But they did it, and then they did it again for Kongming as well. So these types of products are just so cool, and I'm disappointed to see that for the United States, this is likely going to be something that potentially looks like will go away. Now, what is nice, though, is that for other parts of the globe, it sounds like this won't really influence you. So people in Southeast Asia, people in Europe, these are two large markets for the game. I suspect these types of cool little merchandise pieces and what you're provided for regionals and ascents, I imagine you're going to continue to be able to receive these. It's simply going to be for us here in the United States, we're going to miss out on them, unfortunately. So maybe that will inspire people a little bit more in the United States to travel out of the country to attend ascents in other countries. Perhaps this will help with Canada as well. So future ascents in Canada may benefit from this as well. Grand Archive is going very strong in the United States. I continue to see it grow. People continue to show up at my locals. From what I'm seeing, everything looks quite good for the game. So I don't suspect this is going to be a huge hit to the players and people dropping off of the game, but it's going to create a little bit of a sense that we're missing out on all the fun and all the opportunities that other people get to enjoy. So this is my recommendation to fellow Grand Archive players living in the United States. If there's a particular type of merch in the future, you're probably going to want to be a part of communities like Merlin's Marketplace so that if you do want to pick up merch from outside of the US, you'll have a place to go to look to purchase that merch. Merlin's Marketplace, that Discord is a great resource for this. On the flip side, if there's current merch that you're interested in, such as the counters, the metal counters that were provided at regionals, and you were thinking, well, I wasn't able to make it to it this time around, I'll see if maybe they'll have them at the next. My recommendation would be to, if you have somebody local to you, or you find a good deal on these types of products, go ahead and purchase them from the secondary market today, even though they're already within the US. It seems likely that in the future we're just not going to have these, and it's better probably to pick them up now sooner rather than later. And I guess it goes without saying, but for those in the United States that intend on going to Ascent Worlds in Singapore in 2026, maybe bring a larger suitcase or save a considerable amount of room in your luggage, because I am anticipating a lot of my friends that are unable to make this trip wanting particular pieces of merch that aren't going to be available in the US, and they're going to want me to bring all of this back to them. So that's what I intend on doing, and maybe it's something that you could do as well for the people in your local community as well. Regardless, I'm relieved that the actual trading card product line, our booster boxes, our recollection decks, our starter decks, all of this is produced and comes out of Taiwan. So that when it comes to the actual price of sets, that is not going to go up tremendously. However, we should at least touch on the fact that for the next set, Phantom Monarchs, there is going to be a little bit of a change as to the amount of packs in a booster box, as well as the MSRP for a box. So when it comes to Phantom Monarchs booster boxes, let's go over those very quickly. And I'll be using Abyssal Heaven as the previous expansion set as my comparison. For Phantom Monarchs, we are going to be going from what was 20 booster packs in our previous expansion set, now with Phantom Monarchs having 24 booster packs in a booster box. The MSRP is changing as well. Previously, the MSRP for a booster box for Abyssal Heaven was $89.99 USD. That MSRP for a booster box is increasing to $107.99 USD. So quite a large jump, but we are receiving 4 additional booster packs. So while the tariffs will be impacting our booster box and our TCG products to some degree, it's not going to be to the extent that we will be seeing on merch, which is produced and comes out of China. The tariff that we have as far as the United States is concerned on Taiwan is much lower than what is being placed onto China. And I do want to touch on the recollection decks as well. So recollection decks are staying the same, it looks like, which is nice to see. MSRP for recollection decks are $49.99 USD. That was what it was for Abyssal Heaven recollection decks, and that remains the same for Phantom Monarchs Merlin recollection deck as well. So we won't see a change immediately when it comes to that product. Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you think about these tariffs. It's unfortunate, it's frustrating. I wish this wasn't the case. I'm sure everyone does as well, but this is the reality that we're in. While this video was a bit of a bummer, I do appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching. So if you are not already subscribed to the Murgle YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it and suggest that you subscribe to my channel, hit the like button. But for now, I'm out. Peace.